Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Superstars of Wrestling review series for the 18th of September, 1993. 1993, the year a lot of things changed in the WWF. 1993, Diesel, Razor, Shawn, I guess you'd say the Click really starts to, formulate, and they run 93 to 96. So an interesting time in the territory. Probably 93 to 97 is the last time that I really enjoyed pro wrestling on a consistent basis. I did enjoy ECW until the end. I have enjoyed AEW and other independents, but the national WWE product where I felt that it was can't miss television. The last year of that for me was 1997. I'll go back and watch stuff from the 70s before I'll say that anything in the last 25 years. 25? Let's see. 20 would put us at 19. Let's see, 2001. Yeah, so almost 25 years, something like that. 20 plus years anyway. I wouldn't consider it can't miss television. Were there good segments? Yes. Were there good months? Sometimes. But as far as can't miss television, like it would bother me to miss it, it's been since 1997 or the beginning of 98, probably up until WrestleMania 14 in 98. Anyway, Bret Hart and Blake Beverly seems like a demotion in a lot of ways for Hart. I mean, Hart's a former world champion. Um, at this point one time world champion, and to be against one of the Beverly's kind of disappeared for a little while here. Um, just seems like a kind of a throwaway, and it's awkward. I mean, nothing wrong with the match. Brett comes off, manages to hit a couple spots, hits the shoulder tackle and the hip toss. Brett is perfectly fine, but again, you kind of have that cinch up on the arm and attempted to drop the elbow, and Brett certainly, misses a couple of shots there, and we see Brett with the arm wringer stays on the arm for several minutes. Beverly tries to mount a comeback, doesn't really get where he wants to get. I don't know if the other Beverly had quit. I don't know if they had disappeared. I don't know what happened there, but a crucifix attempt by Bret Hart doesn't go according to plan. Beverly drops right back, and that's awkward. Headbutt to the back of Bret Hart, and Beverly ends up, getting kicked out, and ultimately, pretty cool stuff. Bret Hart goes into the buckle and gets sent pretty hard. Irish whip by Beverly, doesn't get all he wants on it, does get enough though, and ultimately Bret Hart on the receiving end of a suplex. Luckily, both members of the team not here, I don't believe, in the building, and ultimately Bret doesn't have to take their old tag finish. They do the go behind roll up attempt, and Beverly kind of ducks down. A match worth seeing, actually, believe it or not, for the time period. Now, would this be even where Bret was a year ago? Certainly not. But for the time period, Bret brings something good out of an undercard guy, and Bret does have that ability up through 97. And you can't fault Bret. I've always been a Shawn guy, but I respect Bret in the ring. Clothesline, and then the elbow drop, and then the sharpshooter. Bret with a victory there. We move to face with Tatanka and Bam Bam Bigelow. Basically, Tatanka says that Bam Bam is disrespectful, attempted to cut the hair earlier, and Bam Bam is going to have to pay for that. Luna isn't even in the shot, so maybe she missed TV or is sick or injured or something. But needless to say, it's awkward. The promo really doesn't go too far. Well done, Timothy Wells, Stephen Dunn are here. Russ Greenberg and Mark Thomas are their opponents, and I always get them confused, to be completely honest. Their best work in Memphis and Smoky Mountain, if you've never seen their work from that time, worth going out of your way to find it. I would definitely encourage you to do that, but really basic stuff. Thomas manages to take a couple of arm drags and bring his man down. Greenberg gets tagged in, gets hit with a couple of shots. I believe it's Timothy Well. I'm not 100% sure on that. And Enhancement Talent rolls him back. The block of the inverted atomic drop into the clothesline, which is a pretty big deal. And ultimately, kind of see a run go behind there. And, tries the choke out, doesn't get all he wants on it. Gets barely enough, but does get something. And the Well Done cuts the ring off. They, I think, were basically brought in to work with teams like the Smoking Guns, the Bushwhackers, kind of just fodder for house shows. They had good matches, but I don't know that they ever were given a push that really meant a lot. Then we see the snap suplex, gets him over, doesn't get all he wants on it, and ultimately, there's an interesting finish, kind of a neck breaker into a. I thought they were going to turn it into a Boston Crab. They kind of debate over who's going to finish him. That's interesting. And then then they get the victory from there. Then we go to Tully McShane against Razor Ramon. Razor kind of going into it with IRS at this point. That kind of peaks around the I guess you'd say fall area. Actually peaks at Royal Rumble 94, so they kind of draw that out for 3 or 4 months. Ico Pro is promoted pretty heavily. Razor does the if something happens to Gold, something will happen to you, which is a spot I always loved. Once again, Scott Hall. When I chose my stage name for pro wrestling, and I've gone by, let's put it this way, I have gone by Scott since I was about 14, 15 years old, in honor of the meeting I had with Scott Hall at that time. Gotta grab my phone. We will be back momentarily in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. What I find really interesting is that Razor, and sorry about my phone, I couldn't get my pause button to work there for a second. Razor is a guy who, for the most part, has the same squash match. He's going to hit the back suplex. He's going to hit the overhead reverse slam. He's going to hit the Razor's Edge. But at the same time, targeted towards kids, it always looked cool. It always looked strong. And you wanted to see it again even though you've seen it before. I think there's an art form to placing known spots that are lost rather than flashy spots that look cool. If you place even 4 or 5 spots as a babyface in the right place in your matches, 1 in the early part, 2 in the mid, and 1 at the finish, you're going to get over, and I think guys have lost that today. Mr. Perfect, Ludwig Borga and PJ Walker, who goes on to be just incredible. Think about that. Borga muscles him up and does so pretty aggressively. Headbutts and almost MMA style shots to the midsection there. Borga is not at a place where he is wanting to take backward steps. He hits several shots along the way, and we see, several short knees, shots under the chin. Borga cuts him off, manages to almost hit like a pop-up uppercut type maneuver. There is a suplex here that's pretty aggressive looking, and then he kind of does the hanging suplex Davey Boy Smith used to do. I actually wonder if you watched Davey because it looks similar to Davey's, and that is there as well. There is the flying clothesline, almost like an IRS flying clothesline, only from a bigger guy. Borga gets the victory. Mr. Perfect and Barry Horowitz. Perfect still in the hunt with Shawn Michaels. Doesn't turn actually disappears by probably Survivor Series 93, so I don't think he's wrestling too terribly much longer here. Then does the referee spot at WrestleMania 10 as a comeback. So I think we're nearing Mr. Perfect's comeback time in this area. Horowitz does get a hip toss on Perfect, does try to take him over, and ultimately doesn't get anything he really wants out of it. Uh, at the end of the day, we kind of see a couple of tackles, and ultimately leapfrog, drop kick right under the chin. Perfect drop kicks are things of beauty, and almost like a judo throw, arm drag judo throw. Hip toss. Hennig still looks good. Mocks the patting Barry on the back. I actually would love to see the whole the winner run of Barry Horowitz. That'd be cool. Horowitz actually hits a beautiful Northern Lights suplex, which was weird at the time. Hennig is giving, though, if he likes you, and obviously he likes Barry here. Uh, Rough chops, no fun, by Hennig in the corner, and he snaps him over pretty aggressively there. Perfect flex, 1, 2, 3, and away we go. The tag team championships have been won by the Quebecers, so I was correct. It was September. I was trying to remember. Basically, they talk about they're going to hold the belts indefinitely. They're going to dominate the WWF for the next 2 years. How they came to that conclusion, I do not know. Maybe that's how long their contracts were. Who knows. Anyway, Shawn Michaels against Dan Duvall. Michaels is still your Intercontinental Champion. He bails out, though, within the next couple of weeks. Quits the company for a little bit, leading to Razor Ramon picking up the Intercontinental Championship in a Battle Royal, which ultimately leads to the face-off when Shawn returns. Some say Shawn failed a drug test. Others say he took his ball and went home. Others say it's a bit of both. Some even say that at this time he inherited a bunch of money. We don't know the truth. Obviously, Shawn has talked about it some, but I don't know that even he gave the whole truth. Anyway, body slams by Michaels and big hip tosses. Takes the guy over a couple of times. Manages to get a good go around there, and some hip tosses and a big power slam along the way. Michael's pretty dominant. Keep in mind Kevin Nash, aka Diesel, still out there. Diesel has not found his run as a wrestler yet, though, but he's only been with the company about 6 weeks or so. Drop kick under the chin. Michaels looks to be in $1,000,000. Perfect shape. Big body slam. And then a flying clothesline from the top rope. So I've been watching so much Mid-South, I forget that guys can come off the top and not the second. Anyway, Michaels manages to get the super kick. He's not using it as a full finish yet, but it's around this time that he starts to think that way. And then we see Shawn Michaels and Diesel confronting the 1, 2, 3 Kid in the aisleway, setting up their house show run. I would have loved to. I don't think I ever got to see those two work. I got to see them work tag matches. Did not get to see them work singles matches that I recall, like no house show matches or anything like that. I would have really enjoyed to see that. Anyway, Kid is laid out in the aisleway. Hennig comes back out to make the save. Bonnie Blackstone, the wife of Joe Pedicino, interviews them in the back. Shawn Michaels says no one embarrasses them. Diesel basically says he's going to be there to watch Shawn's back at every given moment. And that is that. Smoking Guns against Mike Bell and Tony DeVito. Tony DeVito, one of the Baldies. Mike Bell, the guy that Perry Saturn took out on Sunday Night Heat in 2001, 2002, something like that. So that's a pretty big thing. And then, the Guns are starting to gain some traction. I'd say they really have their traction by maybe sometime in 94, but double Irish whips on the enhancement talents, big backdrops, and the Guns are looking like $1,000,000 here. Bart and Billy make pretty consistent tags. Duck down, and the Bulldog by Billy Gunn. And Billy is happy, makes the body slam, and ultimately gets to an area where he's happy with everything. Toss across the ring, and there you go. Billy drops down leapfrogs and a couple of kicks to the midsection. Boom, boom. Gut wrench suplex and actually just drops him flat. Billy off the ropes does the backdrop and ultimately sets up the Sidewinder finish, which I think changes over time. I don't know that they do the backdrop pile driver finish forever, but they do it for a while. And ultimately, Bart Gunn hits the pile driver 1, 2, 3. They win. Face to face, Razor Ramon and Doink. Doink basically makes fun of Razor. Razor basically says that Doink is a con and a coward in different words than that, but that's basically it. We close the program on that note. We will be back. I think there's 3 more of these that I need to record. And we'll go back to Mid-South and encourage you to keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Till next time, everybody.